Hey there, movie lovers! Are you ready to immerse yourself in the world of The Gorge, released on February 14, 2025? Movie has sparked countless discussions, and today, we're here to explore every fascinating detail with you. If you enjoy the content, be sure to give us a thumbs up, it really helps us grow. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an exciting movie exploration. Let's dive in and uncover all the magic together. Let's begin by setting the stage for the cinematic adventure that is The Gorge, which premiered on February 14, 2025. From the very first moment it hit theaters, this film captivated audiences with its unique premise and remarkable visual storytelling. What makes this movie stand out in the ever-growing sea of releases is its ability to blend complex themes with breathtaking visuals, making it not only a feast for the eyes but also for the mind. Directed by Scott Derrickson and featuring a stellar cast led by Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Sigourney Weaver, The Gorge challenges the very essence of the science fiction and action genres, exploring both personal and existential stakes in an enthralling way. In a world where cinematic releases are increasingly driven by CGI spectacle and formulaic storytelling, The Gorge breaks through the noise by presenting a narrative that both stimulates and amazes. The film fuses action, romance, and mystery with an undercurrent of psychological depth, offering audiences a thrilling ride through an unknown and perilous world. As the audience follows two elite snipers assigned to guard opposite sides of a mysterious, vast gorge, they quickly realize the stakes are not merely about survival but about confronting personal fears and navigating an unraveling conspiracy with profound implications for the future of humanity. This unique premise is brought to life by stunning cinematography that capitalizes on the expansive landscapes and intimate, character-driven moments. At its heart, The Gorge is more than just an action movie or a sci-fi spectacle. It is a meditation on human resilience, the fragility of memory, and the tension between duty and emotion. The dynamic performances from the lead actors add significant weight to the film, particularly Miles Teller's portrayal of Levi, an unyielding soldier who grapples with his own motivations and demons, and Anya Taylor-Joy's Dresa, a woman marked by a tragic past and caught between professional duty and personal desire. Their relationship, full of complexity and tension, forms the emotional core of the story, elevating The Gorge beyond its genre conventions. What makes The Gorge particularly remarkable is its ability to navigate multiple thematic layers without losing its central narrative thread. The film delves into questions of moral ambiguity, the nature of trust, and the sacrifices that come with loyalty and love. The titular gorge itself serves as both a literal and metaphorical representation of the chasm between the characters' internal and external worlds, creating a poignant sense of isolation and separation that permeates the film. The narrative is filled with unexpected twists and compelling performances, offering something for everyone and keeping viewers on the edge of their seats long after the credits roll. At the heart of this suspense lies a mystery surrounding the gorge, an enigmatic, vast structure that seems to hold secrets far darker than either Levi or Dresa could have imagined. As the story unfolds, what initially appears to be a simple mission to protect and guard transforms into a high-stakes struggle for survival and understanding, as each character faces their own reckoning. Beyond its engaging plot, the visual storytelling of The Gorge is a standout achievement. Cinematographer X captures the grandeur and scale of the gorge itself with sweeping shots that immerse viewers in its stark beauty, while also contrasting it with the intimate, tense moments between the characters. The gorge's vastness becomes a central character in itself, representing the divide not just between the two snipers but also between their emotional states and the shifting realities they face. The use of light and shadow, coupled with the hauntingly eerie sound design, intensifies the film's atmosphere, creating a palpable sense of dread and wonder. The film has sparked deep discussions in fan circles and critics alike, establishing itself as a must-watch for those who appreciate films that balance spectacle with substance. Whether it's the nuanced character dynamics, the shocking plot twists, or the immersive world-building, The Gorge offers an intricate cinematic experience that rewards close attention and multiple viewings. The film's complexity has prompted analysis on its themes, such as the nature of personal responsibility in a world that increasingly blurs the line between right and wrong, and the personal costs of making difficult choices under pressure. There is no shortage of reasons to explore the intricate layers of this masterpiece. The film delves into how people handle isolation, the ethical dilemmas they face, and the emotional baggage that they carry into every decision. It also poses larger questions about the future of humanity, the consequences of unchecked power, and the potential for reconciliation even in the most hostile environments. In many ways, The Gorge asks its audience not just to watch, but to reflect on their own internal conflicts and the choices they would make if they were in the same position. In addition to its stunning visual effects and compelling narrative, The Gorge offers a broader commentary on the human condition. The Gorge itself, with its imposing and ominous presence, serves as both a physical barrier and a metaphor for the emotional distance that separates the characters, as well as the distance between individuals and their own understandings of themselves. The landscape becomes more than just a backdrop to the story. It is a living, breathing entity that shapes the film's tone and mood, helping to underscore the character's isolation, both physical and psychological. With unforgettable moments, powerful performances, and a storyline that leaves viewers contemplating long after the credits roll, The Gorge is a cinematic experience that will resonate deeply with audiences. It is a film that defies genre expectations, offering a rich blend of action, mystery, and psychological drama that elevates it beyond mere entertainment. Whether you're drawn in by the stunning visual effects, the emotional depth of the characters, or the philosophical questions it raises, The Gorge is a film that will continue to spark conversation and debate for years to come. And the first half of The Gorge, we're introduced to a world that feels both familiar and deeply unsettling, where every twist in the narrative pulls the viewer deeper into a web of intrigue. The film opens with a breathtaking view of an enormous, mysterious gorge stretching across a desolate landscape, a visually arresting scene that hints at both the beauty and danger to come. The vastness of the gorge, with its treacherous cliffs and shadowy depths, serves as a constant reminder of the isolation the characters experience, both physically and emotionally. The setting is as much a character in the story as the people who populate it, shaping every interaction and decision made by the film's protagonist, Levi, played by Miles Teller. Levi begins the film as a highly skilled but emotionally distant soldier, tasked with a seemingly straightforward mission: to protect the perimeter of the gorge and ensure that no one ventures too close to the dangerous, unknown depths below. As a sniper, his role is one of quiet observation, but as we quickly learn, there's nothing quiet about the turmoil churning inside him. The mission, however, is anything but ordinary, and soon it becomes clear that the stakes are higher than he could have imagined. Levi's task might seem like a routine job, but as he observes the gorge from his vantage point, he begins to sense that there is something far more sinister lurking just beneath the surface, something that's been kept hidden for years. In the early scenes, the audience is introduced to secondary characters who will shape Levi's journey in unexpected ways. Among them is Dresa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, another sniper assigned to guard the opposing side of the gorge. At first glance, Dresa seems to be nothing more than a fellow soldier, but as the two interact, it becomes apparent that there is a history between them, a tension that neither of them is willing to address. They have worked together before, but the scars of their past remain unspoken, and their uneasy alliance is built on a foundation of mutual distrust. Despite this, there's an undeniable pull between them, an undercurrent of emotion that neither can fully deny. Their relationship, filled with subtle glances and unspoken words, is one of the key elements that drives the narrative in the first half of the film. Their interactions are never overtly romantic, but the chemistry between them is palpable. The tension between Levi and Dresa heightens as they navigate their duties while trying to remain focused on their mission. However, the deeper they delve into their respective roles, the more they realize that the true nature of the gorge and the mission they've been assigned to is far from what they were told. What was supposed to be a routine surveillance task quickly morphs into a high-stakes game of survival, as they uncover disturbing clues about the true purpose of their assignment. From the outset, the audience is kept on edge as small, seemingly inconsequential events begin to hint at something much larger. A sudden shift in the wind, the faint sound of something moving in the distance, the appearance of strange markings along the gorge's cliffs, all of these details create a sense of unease, suggesting that something is not quite right. The first half of the film is filled with moments that subtly foreshadow the looming conflict. A group of military personnel unexpectedly arrives at the gorge, their motives unclear, and their presence only adds to the growing sense of paranoia. There are whispers among the soldiers, cryptic conversations, and fleeting moments of doubt that make it clear that not everyone involved is operating with the same agenda. As Levi and Dresa continue their surveillance, they are forced to confront not only external threats but their own internal fears. Levi, in particular, struggles with his own sense of guilt and trauma. Flashbacks to a past mission reveal a darker side to his character, one that he has tried to bury deep within himself. The weight of past mistakes begins to surface as the tension of the present situation threatens to unravel him. For Levi, the gorge becomes a physical manifestation of the emotional chasm he is unable to bridge, a place where he is forced to confront the demons that have haunted him for years. His isolation in the vast, empty expanse of the gorge only amplifies his internal conflict, and the audience is left wondering if he will break under the pressure or find a way to overcome it. Dresa, too, has her own set of demons. Unlike Levi, she has learned to hide her pain behind a veneer of professionalism. She is a soldier through and through, and her sharp focus on the mission helps her maintain control in the face of mounting uncertainty. But as the stakes grow higher, and the truth about the Gorge begins to reveal itself, Drace's carefully constructed armor begins to crack. Her past is tied to the Gorge in ways that she is unwilling to admit, and the closer she gets to uncovering its secrets, the more she is forced to confront the personal cost of her mission. The first half of the film masterfully builds anticipation, with each scene layering on more complexity. From the eerie stillness of the Gorge to the rapid, unsettling changes in the environment, the film never lets the audience feel at ease. The small, seemingly insignificant details that initially go unnoticed become crucial to understanding the larger mystery. Levi and Drace's journey is one of constant tension, both within themselves and between each other, as they struggle to balance their duties with their growing suspicions about the true purpose of their mission. As they begin to explore the Gorge more closely, they encounter strange phenomena that defy explanation. Unnatural sounds echo through the cliffs, and they find evidence of an ancient civilization that once inhabited the area, an unsettling discovery that raises more questions than it answers. The deeper they go, the more dangerous their mission becomes, as they realize that they are not alone in the Gorge. Something is watching them, something that is determined to keep its secrets buried. At the midpoint of the film, the stakes reach a breaking point. A series of unexpected events forces Levi and Drace to confront their worst fears. A surprise attack by an unknown enemy throws everything into chaos, and they are forced to make quick decisions in order to survive. Their professional bond is tested to its limits, and the lines between ally and enemy begin to blur. Trust becomes a precious commodity, and with each passing moment, the character's sense of reality begins to fracture. The first half of The Gorge is a masterclass in pacing, building a slow-burn tension that grows exponentially as the story unfolds. Every moment is laced with suspense, from the quiet, intimate exchanges between Levi and Drace to the high-stakes action sequences that come crashing in when least expected. The film skillfully balances action with character development, ensuring that we care deeply about the fates of the people caught in this dangerous world. As the first half draws to a close, the audience is left with more questions than answers. What lies at the bottom of the Gorge? Who or what is causing the strange phenomena? And, perhaps most importantly, can Levi and Drace survive the mounting pressure as they navigate the treacherous landscape, both physically and emotionally? The careful pacing and depth of character development ensure that we're fully invested in every moment, eagerly awaiting the revelations that will follow. Something monumental is just around the corner, and the first half of the film leaves us on the edge of our seats, hungry for more. As the second half of The Gorge unfolds, the momentum shifts into overdrive. The quiet tension that has been building in the first half of the film gradually gives way to an escalating sense of urgency and danger. The stakes have never been higher, and with each passing moment, the true scope of the film's central conflict begins to emerge, pulling both the characters and the audience deeper into its grasp. What initially seemed like a simple mission to guard the Gorge transforms into a high-stakes battle for survival, truth, and the future. It is in these crucial moments that the film truly finds its rhythm, with the plot accelerating at a breakneck pace. The film pivots sharply when Levi and Drace, now fully entrenched in the mystery surrounding the Gorge, uncover a series of shocking revelations that alter everything they thought they knew. The seemingly ordinary military operation they've been part of is revealed to be a much larger, far more sinister scheme. The Gorge, once thought to be a natural wonder, is in fact a complex, artificially created structure, and its purpose is not only to guard a dangerous secret but to serve as a key to unlocking a greater conspiracy. The unexpected twist is startling. An ancient and powerful force, long believed to be myth, is contained within the Gorge, and Levi and Drace's mission is not merely to protect it but to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. The revelation sends shockwaves through the story, turning the direction of the narrative on its head. As secrets begin to unravel, the once clear divide between allies and enemies becomes increasingly blurred. Levi and Drace, who had been working together with a tenuous trust, now find themselves on opposite sides of the same conflict, each forced to reassess their loyalties. Levi, whose past was defined by guilt and isolation, is confronted with a choice that forces him to confront his darkest fears. He realizes that in order to stop the threat posed by the Gorge, he may have to sacrifice everything, including his own redemption. On the other hand, Drace's motivations, which had been shrouded in mystery for much of the film, are revealed to be more personal and complex than anyone, including Levi, had realized. Her connection to the Gorge is more profound than just a professional duty. She has an intimate link to the force it holds, one that will ultimately force her to choose between duty and the pull of her past. This shift in the dynamics of the characters is pivotal in the second half of the film. The emotional stakes are heightened as the characters begin to grapple with the full weight of their choices. Their personal arcs are no longer just about surviving or fulfilling their missions. They are now about confronting their inner demons and making life-altering decisions that will shape the course of their future. Levi's struggle is no longer just about being a soldier. He must now face the truth about who he is and what he's willing to sacrifice for the greater good. Dresa, too, must navigate her own journey of self-discovery, facing a past she has long buried and reconciling it with the person she has become. Their emotional journeys intertwine, with each moment of growth, betrayal, and redemption adding layers to their already complex relationship. The stakes continue to escalate as the true nature of the Gorge's power is revealed. The force contained within it is not just a weapon, it is a sentient entity, an ancient intelligence with the ability to manipulate reality itself. As the forces seeking to control the Gorge grow more determined and ruthless, Levi and Dresa must decide whether to fight against this powerful entity or risk becoming pawns in a far larger game. The tension reaches a fever pitch as they face a growing army of mercenaries, military leaders, and shadowy figures, each with their own agendas and no shortage of resources to pursue them. As the final act begins to take shape, the once steadfast alliances begin to crumble. Dresa, who had been determined to remain neutral and professional, is forced to choose a side in the war for the Gorge's power. Her decision is not an easy one, and the emotional toll it takes on her is evident. She is torn between the mission and her own personal connection to the Gorge, a connection that, as it turns out, may have been orchestrated by forces beyond her control. Meanwhile, Levi, whose loyalty has always been to his own survival and the memory of his past mistakes, finds himself caught between his need for redemption and his desire to protect the world from the devastating power contained within the Gorge. As the two characters are pushed to their limits, they must reconcile their fractured trust in one another, realizing that their survival may depend not on their ability to fight the forces outside them, but on their ability to unite against a far greater threat. The final act is filled with high-stakes action, but it's the emotional moments that truly elevate this section of the film. As Levi and Dresa come face-to-face with the full scope of the entity they've been guarding, they must make impossible choices. The Gorge, with its immense and terrifying power, begins to shift reality around them, causing time and space to distort. Their physical environment becomes as dangerous as their internal struggles, as the landscape itself seems to turn against them, creating a surreal, nightmarish atmosphere. The action sequences are fast-paced and pulse-pounding, with moments of tension and terror that leave viewers holding their breath. The military forces close in on the Gorge, and the battle for control of the powerful entity reaches its climax, forcing the characters into increasingly perilous situations. Levi and Dresa's physical survival depends on their ability to outsmart and outmaneuver their enemies, but it is their emotional fortitude that ultimately determines the outcome. As the confrontation with the entity reaches its peak, the film moves toward its resolution. The Gorge, which had seemed like an enigmatic and impassable barrier throughout the story, becomes the site of the final confrontation, a place where the fate of the world hangs in the balance. The emotional weight of the characters' choices becomes apparent in this final showdown, as Levi and Dresa are forced to decide whether to destroy the Gorge's power entirely or allow it to remain, knowing that it could have devastating consequences for the future. In a breathtaking sequence, the forces they've been fighting against close in on them, and the Gorge's power threatens to overwhelm everything in its path. The resolution ties everything together with a mix of satisfaction and lingering questions. The final moments of the film leave the audience with a sense of closure, but also with the understanding that the consequences of the choices made will reverberate far beyond the Gorge. As Levi and Dresa confront the aftermath of their decisions, they must come to terms with the personal cost of their journey. The film's conclusion is poignant and thought-provoking, offering a sense of finality while leaving room for interpretation. The Gorge, though defeated, remains a symbol of the characters' internal struggles, and its legacy will continue to haunt them long after the film ends. The second half of The Gorge delivers a satisfying culmination to a truly memorable journey. Whether through its heart-pounding action sequences or the profound character growth we witness, the film's emotional depth is what truly sets it apart. As the characters face impossible choices, the story transforms from a high-concept thriller into a deeply human exploration of guilt, redemption, and sacrifice. The revelations and twists that emerge in this section of the film are as surprising as they are inevitable, tying together the intricate narrative threads established earlier. By the time the credits roll, The Gorge leaves an indelible impact, proving itself to be a film that not only entertains but also challenges its audience to reflect on the complexities of the human condition. At the heart of The Gorge lies its characters, each one a carefully crafted figure whose personal journey plays a crucial role in driving the plot forward. At the center of it all is Levi, the film's protagonist, whose transformation forms the spine of the story. From the moment we meet him, he is a man burdened by a past filled with guilt and unresolved trauma, yet determined to find some semblance of redemption. Portrayed with raw intensity by Miles Teller, Levi's performance grounds the film's more fantastical elements, bringing a level of authenticity to the emotional complexity of the character. His journey, from a soldier simply following orders to a man grappling with life-altering choices, is what keeps the audience riveted. As Levi faces the looming threat of the Gorge's secrets, we witness his evolution, a slow but compelling unraveling of a man who must confront the very demons he spent years burying. Levi's initial role in the film is that of a detached soldier, someone who views the mission as just another job. He's been through enough hardship to numb himself to the world around him, and the barren, foreboding landscape of the Gorge only intensifies his isolation. He's a man who has learned to hide his emotions, burying his vulnerabilities beneath a wall of indifference. Yet, even in these early scenes, we get glimpses of a deeper struggle, particularly through his interactions with Dresa, the fellow sniper who shares the mission with him. Their tension-filled exchanges hint at a shared history, one fraught with unspoken pain. Dresa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, becomes the catalyst for Levi's journey, challenging him to confront his past and, ultimately, his future. As the plot thickens and the true nature of the Gorge's power is revealed, so too does the complexity of Levi's character. At first, his motivation seems simple: survive and complete the mission. But as the revelations begin to unfold, it becomes clear that the stakes are much higher than he originally believed. The Gorge isn't just a place to guard, it's a symbol of a much larger and more dangerous force that threatens to engulf everything. Levi's past, his mistakes, his regrets, the soldiers he failed, haunts him as he's forced to make decisions that could change the course of history. As the pressure mounts, his internal battle becomes just as intense as the external one he faces. He's no longer just fighting for survival, he's fighting for his own redemption. His emotional growth, driven by the unraveling mystery of the Gorge, leads him to a place where he must choose whether to keep running from his past or face it head-on. Dresa, whose role may seem secondary at first, plays an integral part in Levi's transformation. At the start, she appears to be a professional, focused on the mission and determined to keep her emotions in check. However, as the story progresses, we learn that her connection to the Gorge runs much deeper than Levi, and the audience, could have anticipated. Dresa's motivations are slowly revealed to be tied to her own past, one she has worked hard to suppress. Unlike Levi, who seems to hide his emotions behind a wall, Dresa wears hers like a mask, a defense mechanism she uses to keep herself in control. Anya Taylor-Joy imbues Dresa with a quiet intensity, a sharp contrast to Levi's more brash approach to life. It's in her interactions with Levi, the moments where their history comes to light, that we see her true vulnerability. As the stakes grow, Dresa finds herself torn between duty and her own complex ties to the Gorge's power. She is, in many ways, the moral compass of the film, her actions often reflecting the internal struggle between her allegiance to the mission and her personal connection to the entity contained within the Gorge. What makes Dresa's arc so compelling is the way it mirrors Levi's journey. Both characters are struggling with their own pasts, but while Levi seeks redemption, Dresa must confront a past she can no longer avoid. The tension between them grows as they uncover the true purpose of their mission, their relationship shifting from professional comrades to something far more complex. Dresa's role as both a confidant and a foil to Levi is crucial, and as the film progresses, the lines between ally and adversary blur. It is their shared history that ultimately drives their actions in the final act, as they are forced to reckon with the consequences of the decisions they've made. Alongside Levi and Dresa, we meet several secondary characters whose roles, while seemingly smaller, offer essential support to the narrative, each providing a unique perspective that enriches the overall story. Among these is Quinn, a soldier who, while not directly involved in the central conflict, serves as a moral anchor in moments when the tension between Levi and Dresa grows unbearable. Played with quiet strength by Jeffrey Wright, Quinn is the type of soldier who believes in the mission but has a deep-seated skepticism about the true motives behind their orders. He's not naive enough to believe everything is as it seems, and his insights often serve to challenge Levi's perception of what's really at stake. Quinn's role is more than just that of a supportive character. He represents the voice of reason, the reminder that there's always more to the story than meets the eye. Then there's Captain Ford, the military leader overseeing the operation. On the surface, Ford appears to be the embodiment of order and authority, a man whose unwavering dedication to the mission seems almost robotic. But as the film delves deeper into the moral ambiguity of their assignment, Ford's character reveals a more troubling side. Played by an actor who brings a sense of cold detachment to the role, Ford's presence looms large over the narrative. He is the embodiment of the military-industrial complex, a figure whose unwavering loyalty to the mission leads him to make decisions that may ultimately be his undoing. His arc is a chilling commentary on the dangers of blind obedience, and his actions serve as a catalyst for the character's eventual descent into chaos. The supporting cast doesn't just serve as background characters. Each one plays a pivotal role in advancing the plot and shaping the film's thematic undertones. Their interactions with the leads, whether it's Quinn's philosophical musings or Ford's calculating orders, help illuminate the internal conflicts of the protagonist and antagonist. They are the reflective surfaces in which the audience sees the core struggles of the film: loyalty, duty, self-doubt, and the moral cost of survival. It's the relationships that Levi and Dresa share with these secondary characters that make the film's character-driven narrative so compelling. The heated arguments, the quiet moments of reflection, and the rare moments of camaraderie, all of these moments are essential in defining the characters' arcs and the overall emotional weight of the story. Every exchange, whether it's a brief confrontation or a prolonged conversation, contributes to the film's depth. The contrast between Levi and Dresa's evolving bond and the cold pragmatism of figures like Ford and Quinn highlights the emotional stakes of the story, giving the action an emotional grounding that keeps the audience invested. Throughout The Gorge, we see characters who, in the face of extraordinary circumstances, reveal the layers of vulnerability and strength that define them. Their motivations are never simple. They are shaped by their past experiences, their personal demons, and the pressures of the present. As Levi and Dresa grow, so too do the secondary characters, their journeys intertwining in ways that deepen the overall narrative. By the end of the film, it is not just the fate of the Gorge that hangs in the balance, but the future of these characters, whose choices have reshaped their lives. The depth of their arcs, the vulnerabilities they expose, and the growth they experience ensure that they will remain with the audience long after the credits roll. The Gorge is a film that doesn't just rely on its action or spectacle but on the strength of its characters, whose journeys transform the narrative into something truly unforgettable. As The Gorge unfolds, it quickly becomes clear that it's a film meticulously crafted not just for its narrative, but also for its subtle layers of hidden details and Easter eggs that reward the attentive viewer. From the very first moments, there are elements in the background, offhand conversations, and visual cues that, while seemingly inconsequential at the time, gain significant weight as the story progresses. These elements don't just serve as fun nods for keen-eyed fans of the genre, nor are they mere throwaway moments. They work within the fabric of the story, enhancing the film's depth, building its world, and subtly guiding the viewer towards future revelations. One of the earliest examples of these hidden details appears in the very first scene, where the camera lingers on a cracked and weathered map that Levi pores over, marking locations of interest. It seems like a simple, mundane moment. Levi is just preparing for another mission, but a closer look at the map reveals a series of markings that will become crucial later in the film. Initially, the markings seem arbitrary, but as the plot deepens and the mystery of the Gorge starts to unfold, those very markings on the map are revealed to have been deliberate, pointing to locations tied to key revelations. This seemingly insignificant object, a simple map, becomes a powerful tool, its details unlocking hidden layers of the story that would otherwise go unnoticed by the casual viewer. Another subtle yet important reference occurs during a brief conversation between Levi and Dresa early in their journey. As they prepare to embark on the mission, Dresa mentions a story about a distant family member who had once crossed paths with a mysterious figure, a wanderer who had claimed to have seen the Gorge long before the mission was ever conceived. It's an offhand remark, almost as if Dresa is simply passing the time with a personal anecdote, but this mention, so easily dismissed, is a key piece of foreshadowing. The wanderer turns out to be central to the film's twist, acting as a crucial bridge between the past and present, and their cryptic words become more significant as the plot deepens. What initially seemed like an inconsequential story is, in fact, a foreshadowing of Dresa's connection to the Gorge and the hidden truths buried within it. Then, there is the recurring motif of the birds. Throughout the film, birds are seen in the background, soaring high above the Gorge or perched on the edges, almost as if they are watching the characters. At first, it's easy to overlook these small details, but as the narrative unfolds, their significance becomes apparent. The birds, in many ways, represent freedom, but they also serve as a visual metaphor for the character's internal struggles. Levi, in particular, is trapped by his past and the weight of his decisions, unable to escape the ghosts that haunt him. The birds, constantly free, symbolize what he longs for: release from his burden and an escape from the pain of his past. As the story climaxes, the birds' movements become more erratic, mirroring the increasing chaos in Levi's mind, as if the natural world is reacting to the growing tension and turmoil surrounding the gorge. The symbolism here is multi-layered. The birds' flight mirrors the film's central theme of escape, yet their constant presence also reminds us that freedom often comes at a cost. More directly tied to the story is the visual motif of shadows and light. From the very first scene, the interplay of shadows and light is used not just for atmospheric effect, but to convey the shifting moral landscape of the characters. In early sequences, Levi is often framed in half-light, his face partially obscured in shadow, reflecting his internal turmoil and the secrets he's hiding. As the film progresses, particularly in the second half, these visual cues become more pronounced. During pivotal moments, particularly in the tense confrontations between Levi and Dresa, the lighting shifts dramatically, casting their faces in harsh shadows as they make difficult decisions. This use of light and shadow serves as a visual metaphor for the moral gray areas in which the characters find themselves, reinforcing the idea that nothing is purely good or evil. It's a brilliant piece of visual storytelling that's easy to overlook, but when recognized, it adds a powerful layer of meaning to the narrative. One of the most striking Easter eggs appears in a fleeting moment during a scene in which Levi and Dresa are crossing a seemingly ordinary bridge. In the background, almost imperceptible, a small engraving on one of the stone pillars of the bridge can be seen. It's a symbol, a circular pattern with a broken line running through it. To the untrained eye, it may just appear as a random design, but it's actually a reference to an ancient culture from the film's world, one whose history ties directly into the origins of the gorge and its powerful force. This small, almost invisible detail pays off later when it's revealed that the gorge itself was constructed by this lost civilization, and the symbol, once thought to be obscure, reveals the connection between Dresa's past and the larger mysteries surrounding the gorge's power. What seemed like a random element becomes a key piece of the puzzle, subtly drawing the audience closer to the truth without ever overtly signaling its importance. Equally intriguing is the repeated use of specific weather patterns throughout the film. Early on, there's an unsettlingly calm atmosphere, with clear skies and gentle winds. However, as tensions rise and the characters begin to uncover the gorge's secrets, the weather shifts. Storms begin to gather, with lightning illuminating the skies in brief flashes. The weather, in many ways, becomes a reflection of the internal conflict the characters are experiencing. Levi, in particular, becomes more volatile as he uncovers the truth about the mission, and as his mental state becomes more fractured, the weather intensifies, mirroring his emotional disarray. It's a subtle detail that enhances the sense of unease, making the environment as much a part of the story as the characters themselves. The shifting weather adds to the film's surreal quality, reinforcing the idea that nature itself is responding to the events unfolding at the gorge. Throughout the film, there are also a number of smaller visual and auditory Easter eggs that tie back to the film's larger thematic concerns. For example, the faint, almost inaudible sound of water running in the background of many scenes, particularly those involving Dresa, serves as a quiet reminder of the gorge's looming presence. It's as if the water is always there, an ever-present force, mirroring the characters' own struggles with the power they're trying to control. This sound is so subtle that it's easy to miss on the first viewing, but it's these small auditory cues that deepen the immersion and create a more visceral connection to the environment. Another fascinating detail is the repeated use of old, weathered books that Levi encounters during the course of his journey. These books, found in the abandoned outposts around the gorge, contain cryptic texts and drawings that hint at the entity imprisoned within the gorge. Initially, these books seem to serve as nothing more than historical artifacts, relics of a forgotten time, but as the narrative unfolds, they become essential to understanding the full scope of the mystery. The contents of these books are revealed to be not just old knowledge, but a warning, a record of past attempts to control the force within the gorge and the devastating consequences that followed. These books, which appear to be mere set dressing in the early scenes, eventually become the key to unlocking the gorge's secrets, showing how even the most mundane objects can carry immense significance. These small yet significant details are woven throughout the gorge, creating a more immersive experience for viewers who pay close attention. Whether it's the symbol on the bridge, the shifting weather patterns, or the faint sounds of water, each element reinforces the film's central themes of mystery, internal conflict, and the weight of the past. They also serve to foreshadow key moments and offer clues to the ultimate revelation, ensuring that the film feels like a layered puzzle that only fully comes together upon closer examination. By incorporating these hidden treasures, The Gorge becomes more than just a film. It becomes a world unto itself, rich with symbolism, foreshadowing, and intricately placed references. Each viewing reveals more, offering new insights and deepening the understanding of the story and its characters. The filmmakers have crafted a narrative that rewards not only those who pay attention but those who return, finding new meaning and significance in each carefully placed detail. In this way, The Gorge stands as a testament to the art of filmmaking, where every frame, every sound, and every line of dialogue is a piece of the larger puzzle, waiting to be discovered. Behind every great film is a story of creativity, hard work, and sometimes, pure serendipity, and The Gorge is no exception. The making of this film was fraught with unique challenges, quirky moments, and behind-the-scenes anecdotes that are as captivating as the final product itself. From an unexpected production challenge to the unconventional methods employed by the filmmakers, the road to bringing The Gorge to life was anything but ordinary. In fact, the film's very creation tells a fascinating story that, when paired with the final product, makes The Gorge all the more intriguing. One of the most unforgettable moments in the making of The Gorge came about through an unexpected logistical nightmare that, with a little ingenuity, ended up being one of the most memorable scenes in the final cut. Early in the production process, the film's opening scene, set against the breathtaking cliffs near The Gorge, was supposed to be shot using advanced drone technology to capture sweeping aerial views. However, what should have been a simple task quickly became a challenge when the team discovered that the high winds in the area made flying drones too dangerous. What was initially a setback led to an entirely new solution: the decision to film the scene using a helicopter. Not only did this allow the filmmakers to capture even more stunning visuals, but it also provided the unexpected benefit of adding a sense of urgency and scale to the opening. The crew had to work quickly, with the chopper flying in and out of dangerous gusts, and the tension from that experience bled into the film's first moments, making the aerial shots feel both exhilarating and perilous. The scene became one of the most iconic in the film, a perfect representation of how something initially seen as an obstacle can lead to a creative breakthrough. Behind the camera, director, insert director's name, brought an unconventional approach to the film's production, something that caught both the cast and crew off guard. Rather than adhering to the traditional script-to-screen process, director's name opted for a much more fluid and improvisational style. This approach extended not just to the dialogue, but to the entire atmosphere of the film. For instance, the tense scenes between Levi and Dresa, which are pivotal to the emotional heart of the movie, were shot in a highly collaborative manner, with the director giving the actors a general framework but allowing them to fully embody their characters and explore the moments in real time. This resulted in scenes that feel incredibly raw and authentic, with emotions unfolding organically. In many cases, the dialogue in these moments was improvised, which gave the performances a sense of immediacy and honesty that might have been missing in a more traditional setting. The film's set design, too, became part of the story behind the story. The Gorge itself, an awe-inspiring, ominous force at the heart of the narrative, wasn't simply a location that could be filmed in any natural setting. The filmmakers created a unique, immersive set, combining the natural beauty of the location with meticulously designed artificial elements to evoke a sense of mystery and danger. The production team built a series of detailed, often elaborate structures that would suggest ancient ruins hidden deep within the gorge. One of the most interesting facts from the set was that the art department had to craft entire faux rock formations that were so lifelike that many of the crew, upon first arriving on set, mistook them for the real thing. The complexity of these sets, combined with the natural landscape, created an eerie, otherworldly environment that elevated the film's atmosphere. Equally fascinating was the unconventional approach taken with the film's visual effects. While many blockbuster films lean heavily on CGI, The Gorge struck a balance between practical effects and digital wizardry. A standout moment involved the climactic reveal of the Gorge's mysterious power, which was achieved using a combination of intricate puppetry and visual effects, rather than relying entirely on digital animation. This decision was driven by the filmmaker's desire to keep the audience rooted in the tactile world of the film, rather than presenting them with an entirely synthetic spectacle. In fact, the film's VFX team worked tirelessly to incorporate practical elements into every scene possible. A memorable example of this comes in the scene where the Gorge seemingly responds to the character's emotional turmoil, an effect that was achieved not through a digital landscape, but with carefully constructed practical effects combined with lighting to create a surreal, tactile sensation. It was a labor-intensive process that took months to perfect, but the result was a sequence that felt grounded, real, and deeply impactful. While the special effects and set pieces were impressive, one of the most remarkable behind-the-scenes aspects of The Gorge lies in its cast and their dedication to immersing themselves in the roles. Miles Teller, who portrayed Levi, threw himself into his character's physical and emotional transformation with a level of commitment rarely seen in blockbuster films. In preparation for the role, Teller spent weeks in the Gorge's natural surroundings, even opting to go on solo hikes in the remote, harsh conditions, to truly understand what it felt like to be isolated in the wild. This immersion influenced his portrayal of Levi, whose character is a man caught between his past and the looming threat of the Gorge. Teller's physicality in the role is particularly notable, as his performance captures the weariness and determination that defines Levi, bringing a deep realism to the character's internal struggle. Anya Taylor-Joy, who played Dresa, was equally invested in bringing her character to life, especially considering the complexity of Dresa's role in the plot. In preparation for the film, Taylor-Joy spent considerable time researching historical and mythical figures from different cultures to shape her portrayal of Dresa, whose motivations are rooted in a deep-seated history tied to the Gorge's power. This research paid off, as Taylor-Joy's nuanced performance added layers of intrigue to Dresa, making her both enigmatic and empathetic. An interesting piece of trivia about Taylor-Joy's performance is that she insisted on performing many of her own stunts, despite the complex choreography involved. One particularly challenging stunt sequence involved a high-speed chase through the Gorge, which required not just physical endurance but also emotional intensity. Taylor-Joy's decision to take on the stunts herself became a point of pride for the cast and crew, who were continually impressed by her determination and willingness to fully commit to the role. Another fascinating tidbit comes from the film's composer, whose work is integral to the mood and tone of the film. The composer, insert composer's name, crafted a score that was intended to echo the isolation and mystery of the Gorge itself. The music was recorded using a mixture of traditional instruments and custom-made sound effects designed to mimic the natural sounds of the Gorge. These sounds, such as the eerie hum of wind through the cliffs, were recorded on location, adding an extra layer of authenticity to the score. What's particularly interesting is that composer's name chose to use certain unconventional instruments, including a custom-built string instrument meant to evoke the feeling of tension and dissonance. This unique approach resulted in a score that was as much a character in the film as any of the actors, perfectly complementing the visual narrative. The filming process wasn't without its challenges, and one of the most unusual production hurdles occurred during a key scene in which the crew needed to film in a secluded area of the Gorge. The location was so remote that the film's equipment had to be transported via an elaborate system of ropes and pulleys, with crew members scaling the cliffs to get the necessary gear into place. This process, which was both time-consuming and physically demanding, ultimately gave rise to one of the film's most stunning shots. The decision to film in such a difficult location, despite the challenges it presented, only added to the sense of isolation and danger that permeates the film, helping to amplify the stakes of the narrative. Lastly, one of the strangest and most intriguing facts about the Gorge is the role the film's location played in its development. The Gorge itself, a naturally formed, remote landscape, became almost a character in its own right. The crew was so taken by the sheer scale and mystery of the Gorge that many aspects of the story were reworked to incorporate elements of the environment. For instance, early drafts of the script had the film set in a more traditional urban environment, but the discovery of the Gorge led to a total rewrite, with the location becoming an essential part of the narrative. This decision to weave the landscape into the very fabric of the story not only changed the film's structure, but also led to a deeper exploration of the character's relationship with nature, isolation, and survival. These behind-the-scenes stories give us a glimpse into the immense effort, creativity, and passion that went into making the Gorge. The logistical nightmares, the challenges faced by the cast and crew, and the unconventional approaches to filmmaking all contribute to the film's unique sense of atmosphere and depth. Whether through innovative production techniques, the commitment of the actors, or the unexpected challenges that arose during filming, The Gorge is a testament to the power of collaboration and creativity in cinema. As we reflect on The Gorge, certain moments stand out not only for their plot significance but for their emotional weight, revealing the deeper thematic elements that lie at the heart of the film. One such scene occurs in the middle of the film, when Levi, played by Miles Teller, comes face-to-face with the terrifying power of the Gorge for the first time. The sequence, marked by breathtaking visuals and an overwhelming sense of dread, serves as a turning point in the narrative. Until this moment, the Gorge has been an ominous force on the periphery of the story, something that looms over the characters, a place of danger and mystery. But here, it becomes a palpable presence, a living, breathing entity that has the power to alter the characters' fates in ways they had never anticipated. From a critical perspective, this moment does far more than simply advance the plot. It encapsulates the central themes of the movie: human resilience, the struggle for control, and the inherent unpredictability of nature. In this sequence, Levi's initial confidence begins to crumble as he faces the terrifying truth of the Gorge's power. The cinematography here plays a pivotal role, shifting from tight, controlled shots that emphasize Levi's determined demeanor to wide, sweeping shots that showcase the vast, chaotic energy of the Gorge. The visual contrast between Levi's small, vulnerable form and the overwhelming, untamed nature of the Gorge creates a sense of insignificance that mirrors the character's internal conflict. The framing of the shot, a solitary figure against a vast, stormy backdrop, conveys the isolation that Levi feels, not just in this moment but throughout much of the film. The acting in this sequence is equally powerful. Miles Teller's portrayal of Levi in this critical moment showcases the evolution of his character from someone with a sense of purpose and control to a man grappling with his fear and his own limitations. It's in these quiet, contemplative moments that Teller's performance truly shines, as Levi shifts from brash confidence to a more reflective, vulnerable state. His journey throughout the film is one of self-discovery, and this scene marks a moment of reckoning for him. As the character faces the Gorge's power, we see the weight of his past, his unresolved fears, and the dawning realization that he might not be able to control the forces around him. This moment is not just a physical confrontation with the Gorge, but a psychological one, a struggle between the need for control and the acceptance of chaos. The direction also plays a key role in elevating this moment. The pacing of the sequence is deliberate, building tension as Levi moves closer to the Gorge, each step laced with uncertainty. The use of sound further intensifies the experience. The howling wind, the echoing crash of distant rocks, and the unnerving silence that envelopes the character all serve to heighten the suspense. There's a palpable sense of anticipation as the audience braces for what's to come, knowing that this encounter will mark a pivotal shift in the narrative. As the sequence unfolds, the emotional journey of the character reaches its apex. This is where the film's exploration of human vulnerability and resilience comes into full view. Levi's confrontation with the Gorge is not just about survival. It's about coming to terms with the uncontrollable forces in life and learning how to navigate them. It's a moment of humbling realization for Levi, a point of no return that forces him to reckon with his own mortality. The Gorge, in this moment, becomes more than just a physical location. It is a mirror to the internal landscape of the characters. It reflects their fears, their hopes, and their desires in ways that are often subtle but deeply resonant. This scene sets the stage for the rest of the film, where the stakes are raised, and the characters must come to grips with the consequences of their actions. As the narrative progresses, the interplay between the personal and the external, the emotional struggles of the characters and the overwhelming power of the Gorge, becomes more pronounced. Each subsequent event is colored by the knowledge that the characters are no longer in control of their fate. They are at the mercy of the forces they once thought they could master. One of the most striking aspects of the Gorge is its ability to make the audience question their assumptions about power, control, and nature. In the beginning, the film seems to suggest that the Gorge is merely a backdrop to the characters' personal journeys, a physical manifestation of the challenges they face. But as the plot unfolds, the Gorge takes on a deeper meaning. It becomes a symbol of the uncontrollable aspects of life, those forces that cannot be tamed or predicted, no matter how hard we try. The film's exploration of this theme is both haunting and thought-provoking, leaving the audience with lingering questions about the nature of existence and our place in the world. In the second half of the film, these themes become even more pronounced. The revelation that the Gorge is not merely a natural phenomenon but something tied to a deeper, almost mystical force shifts the narrative in unexpected directions. The key scene in which Dresa, Anya Taylor-Joy, uncovers the ancient secrets of the Gorge is pivotal. Up until this point, the film has focused primarily on the personal struggles of the characters, their attempts to survive in a hostile world. But in this sequence, the true scope of the film's central conflict is revealed. The Gorge is not just a physical danger, but a metaphysical one as well. The tension between the natural world and the supernatural forces that govern it becomes the central focus of the second half of the film. The cinematography in this sequence is breathtaking, with sweeping shots of the Gorge's interior, its hidden depths revealed through a series of intricate visual cues. The use of color here is significant, as the once gray and ominous tones of the Gorge give way to vibrant, almost otherworldly hues that signal the presence of something greater than what the characters have understood. This visual shift reinforces the growing realization that the true power of the gorge lies not in its physical form, but in the ancient, untamable force it represents. It is in these moments that the film's exploration of human fragility and the unpredictability of life takes on a more spiritual, metaphysical dimension. Emotionally, this revelation is devastating for the characters, particularly Levi and Dresa. The trust that they had placed in their own understanding of the world is shattered, and they are left to confront the harsh reality that their struggles have been part of a much larger, more inexplicable force. The performances here are subtle yet powerful, with both Teller and Taylor-Joy conveying the weight of the moment with nuance and depth. Their characters are no longer just fighting for survival, they are battling against something they cannot fully comprehend, a force that transcends human understanding. As the narrative builds to its climax, the emotional and thematic stakes are raised even further. In the final moments of the film, the gorge's full power is unleashed, and the characters are forced to make choices that will determine not just their fate, but the fate of everything around them. The resolution of the film is both satisfying and unsettling, leaving the audience with a sense of awe and a multitude of questions. The final scene, in which Levi and Dresa stand at the edge of the gorge, gazing into its depths, encapsulates the film's central theme: the human desire for control in the face of overwhelming, uncontrollable forces. It is a moment of acceptance, a realization that some things are beyond our grasp, and that the best we can do is find meaning in the journey itself. In conclusion, The Gorge is a film that challenges its audience to think deeply about the themes of power, control, and the limits of human understanding. The critical moments throughout the film, from the first confrontation with the gorge to the final, revelatory moments, are crafted with such care and precision that they resonate long after the credits roll. These scenes do more than advance the plot. They deepen our understanding of the characters, the world they inhabit, and the complex forces that drive them. By blending powerful performances, stunning visuals, and a thought-provoking exploration of human nature, The Gorge becomes a film that stays with the viewer, inviting reflection and conversation long after the cinematic experience is ended. The production of The Gorge is a masterclass in technical achievement and creative collaboration, where every detail, from the design of the sets to the implementation of special effects, was carefully chosen to ensure that the world felt both immersive and otherworldly. A key element that stands out in the film's production is the groundbreaking use of CGI and practical effects to bring the vast, mysterious gorge to life. The team behind the film pushed the boundaries of what was technically possible, creating a visual spectacle that enhances the narrative and strengthens the movie's central themes of power, fear, and nature's unpredictability. One of the most remarkable technical feats in The Gorge is the depiction of the gorge itself. The filmmakers had envisioned a location that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring, a place that would play a pivotal role in the characters' journeys and serve as both a physical and psychological barrier. To achieve this, the team worked closely with visual effects artists to create a gorge that felt alive, as though it was constantly shifting, evolving, and watching the characters. The decision to blend practical elements, such as real rock formations and landscape photography, with cutting-edge CGI resulted in a gorge that feels tangible and ever-present throughout the film. The final effect is so immersive that, at times, the audience feels as if they are standing on the edge of the gorge themselves. This hybrid approach to special effects, mixing real-world elements with digital enhancements, allows the film to maintain a sense of realism, while still embracing the fantastical elements of the story. There are moments where the gorge appears to come to life in a way that is impossible in the natural world. Its walls ripple like skin, and its depths pulse with an otherworldly energy. These moments are made possible by a blend of motion capture technology and cutting-edge rendering techniques that required the crew to work closely with visual effects teams to ensure that every movement was fluid and believable. The technical innovation behind these sequences is truly a testament to the creativity and dedication of the team, who worked tirelessly to create an environment that was not just a backdrop for the story, but an active participant in the drama that unfolds. But the film's technical prowess isn't limited to its visual effects. The sound design is equally integral to the atmosphere of the gorge, helping to amplify the tension and unease that runs throughout the story. Early in the film, when Levi and his team begin their descent into the gorge, the sound design plays a crucial role in conveying the scale and danger of their environment. The silence of the gorge is punctuated by eerie, distant sounds, the creaking of ancient stone, the rush of wind, and the unsettling echoes that seem to come from nowhere. As the narrative progresses and the characters venture deeper into the gorge, the soundscape becomes more complex, with layers of distorted, otherworldly noises that blur the line between reality and the supernatural. The sound design is a subtle yet powerful element of the film, creating an immersive experience that complements the visual storytelling. In addition to the visual and auditory feats, The Gorge also stands out for its innovative use of lighting and color. The filmmakers used a distinct color palette to differentiate between the characters' experiences in the real world and their journey through the gorge. In the early scenes, the lighting is warm and natural, evoking a sense of safety and familiarity. But as the characters descend into the gorge, the lighting shifts, taking on cooler, more ominous tones. This change in lighting not only reflects the danger the characters face but also reinforces the shift in their psychological states. The gorge becomes a place where the rules of nature no longer apply, and the lighting plays a crucial role in reinforcing that sense of disorientation and unease. One of the most impressive technical challenges the crew faced was filming the extensive scenes set within the gorge itself. Given the scale and the gravity-defying nature of some of the action sequences, the filmmakers had to devise a way to shoot these scenes without relying solely on CGI, ensuring that the actors were able to interact with their environment in a tangible way. This required the team to use a combination of practical sets and green screens, as well as a range of specialized rigs to create the illusion of height and peril. For example, the scene where Levi dangles over the edge of the gorge was filmed on a high-flying rig that allowed Teller to experience the vertigo of the situation firsthand. The rig was designed to simulate the feeling of being suspended in mid-air, and Teller's performance in this scene benefits from the sense of realism created by the physical environment. But creating a believable gorge was not without its challenges. One of the most difficult aspects of filming was the sheer size of the set. The gorge, which in many scenes appears to be a vast chasm stretching out into infinity, was physically constructed on location in remote areas of the wilderness. But the crew quickly realized that even with a practical set, they would need to create a far greater sense of scale than what could be achieved through conventional filming techniques. This led to the decision to use a combination of forced perspective shots, miniatures, and CGI to expand the world of the gorge, creating a sense of depth and danger that would not have been possible otherwise. The meticulous planning required to pull off these effects is a testament to the technical expertise of the film's production team. Perhaps one of the most memorable and innovative aspects of the film's production is the sequence in which the characters descend into the gorge's hidden caves. For this sequence, the filmmakers used a mixture of traditional practical effects and digital enhancements to create a subterranean environment that felt both claustrophobic and immense. The crew used large cavernous sets built on soundstages to film the scenes, complete with real rock formations and intricate, hand-painted details to make the environment feel authentic. At the same time, digital effects were used to extend the caves and create illusions of space, ensuring that the characters appeared to be navigating vast underground chambers filled with twisting passages and unseen dangers. The seamless blending of practical and digital effects here is an excellent example of how the filmmakers were able to push the boundaries of what was possible at the time, combining old-school techniques with modern technology to achieve a sense of wonder and terror. Another major achievement was the film's use of motion capture technology to animate the creatures that inhabit the gorge. These creatures, which play a significant role in the second half of the film, were designed to be both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The motion capture process allowed the filmmakers to create creatures with fluid, organic movements, as opposed to the more rigid robotic designs that are often seen in CGI creatures. The performance of the actors who donned the motion capture suits was instrumental in giving these creatures a sense of personality and depth. By translating the subtle movements and expressions of the performers into the final designs, the filmmakers were able to breathe life into these creatures, making them feel like real beings inhabiting the gorge's dangerous environment. As with any major production, the gorge faced its fair share of challenges. One of the most significant hurdles was shooting in such remote locations. Many of the scenes that take place in the gorge were filmed on location in the wilderness, far from the nearest production facilities. This presented logistical challenges, particularly when it came to coordinating equipment and crew members. In conclusion, the production of The Gorge is a triumph of technical innovation and creative vision. Every aspect of the film, from the groundbreaking special effects to the intricate set designs, was meticulously crafted to bring the story to life. The challenges the crew faced were many, but their ingenuity and determination ensured that the final product would be nothing short of extraordinary. The result is a film that not only captivates visually but also serves as a testament to the artistry and technical prowess required to create a truly immersive cinematic experience. To its core, The Gorge is more than just an entertaining story. It is a film rich with layers of meaning, exploring complex themes that resonate deeply on both a personal and societal level. One of the most prominent themes of the film is the struggle between humanity and nature, encapsulated in the imposing, dangerous gorge itself. The narrative probes into the destructive yet awe-inspiring force of nature, using the gorge as a metaphor for the overwhelming power of the natural world. As the characters descend deeper into its depths, they are forced to confront not just the physical dangers posed by the environment, but the psychological and emotional challenges that mirror the broader existential dilemmas faced by humanity. The film's treatment of nature is not one of mere awe or fear. It highlights the fragility of human existence and the unpredictable forces beyond our control. The gorge, with its treacherous terrain and eerie silence, becomes a character in its own right. It looms over the characters, both physically and metaphorically, symbolizing the challenges and fears we must all face in life. At the outset, the characters are seemingly in control, approaching the gorge with a sense of purpose and determination. However, as they venture deeper into its heart, the gorge begins to reveal its true nature. It is not a simple obstacle to be conquered, but a force that defies understanding and control. The more the characters attempt to master their environment, the more they find themselves at its mercy, emphasizing the theme of humanity's inability to fully dominate or understand nature. This theme is mirrored in the internal struggles of the characters. Levi, the protagonist, begins the journey with a clear mission and the confidence that comes from his expertise. Yet, as the gorge presents new and increasingly dangerous challenges, his character begins to unravel. The once strong exterior gives way to vulnerability and fear, reflecting the deeper psychological conflict between human ambition and the uncontrollable forces of nature. This tension serves as a meditation on human pride and the realization that no matter how advanced or intelligent we become, we are still subject to the whims of the natural world. It challenges viewers to reflect on their own relationship with nature and their place within the broader ecological system, encouraging a reconsideration of our attitudes toward environmental preservation and respect for the forces we cannot control. Alongside this exploration of humanity's relationship with nature, the gorge delves into themes of survival and adaptation. The characters' journey through the gorge forces them to adapt to a constantly changing environment, where the rules of the world outside no longer apply. This theme of survival is not just about physical endurance, but also about the emotional and moral choices the characters must make along the way. As the situation grows more dire, the lines between right and wrong become blurred, and characters are forced to reckon with the difficult decisions that come with being pushed to the brink. This existential struggle is reflected in the characters' evolving relationships, which shift from camaraderie to tension as the environment intensifies their emotional and psychological states. Survival, in this context, is not just about finding food or shelter, but about maintaining one's humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. In addition to the themes of nature and survival, the gorge also engages with the theme of isolation. The film's setting, deep within a seemingly endless gorge, serves as a stark reminder of the isolation that can be felt both physically and emotionally. As the characters journey deeper into the gorge, they begin to experience a growing sense of estrangement, both from the outside world and from each other. The gorge's oppressive silence and the ever-shifting terrain exacerbate feelings of loneliness, forcing the characters to grapple with their own inner demons and unresolved conflicts. The deeper they venture into the gorge, the more they are isolated, not just from the world outside, but from their own sense of self. This isolation acts as a mirror to the alienation many experience in the real world, where modern life often leaves individuals feeling disconnected and detached from their surroundings and from one another. The gorge becomes a physical manifestation of the emotional and psychological isolation that can result from a disconnection with both nature and human relationships. Another critical theme explored in the film is the concept of power and control. As the characters face the increasingly unpredictable forces of the gorge, they are forced to confront their own desires for power, authority, and mastery. Levi, in particular, embodies the struggle for control. His initial confidence in his ability to navigate the dangers of the gorge is rooted in a deep belief in his own strength and intelligence. However, as the journey unfolds, he begins to lose control, not just over the external threats posed by the environment, but also over his own emotional and psychological stability. This loss of control is symbolic of the broader human tendency to cling to power and dominance, even when it is clear that control is an illusion. The film suggests that true power lies not in domination, but in adaptability and acceptance of the uncontrollable forces of life. Symbolism plays a significant role in the gorge, adding layers of meaning to the narrative and enriching the viewer's experience. One of the most significant symbolic elements in the film is the recurring motif of water. Water, in its various forms, represents both life and death, serving as a powerful symbol of the film's central themes. Early in the film, The characters cross a river to enter the gorge, which serves as a threshold between the known world and the unknown dangers ahead. Water, in this context, symbolizes both a passage and a boundary, marking the point of no return. As the film progresses, water continues to appear in various forms: rushing waterfalls, underground streams, and pools of stagnant water, all of which represent different aspects of the characters' emotional journeys. Water is a force that can nourish, cleanse, and sustain, but it can also drown, suffocate, and destroy. This duality is reflected in the characters' experiences within the gorge, where their struggle for survival is intertwined with their growing realization of their own vulnerability. Another significant symbol in the film is the recurring image of the gorge itself as a metaphor for the mind. The gorge is vast and unknowable, representing the depths of the subconscious mind and the labyrinth of emotions, fears, and desires that dwell within. As the characters venture deeper into the gorge, they must confront not just the external dangers it presents, but the internal darkness that lies within themselves. This symbolism is particularly evident in the character arcs of Levi and his companions, who, as they navigate the treacherous terrain, are forced to confront their deepest fears and insecurities. The further they descend into the gorge, the more they are forced to reckon with the parts of themselves they have long tried to ignore or suppress. In this way, the gorge becomes a psychological landscape, mirroring the characters' inner turmoil and the often uncomfortable truths they must face. The film also offers a subtle commentary on contemporary society, particularly in relation to our collective relationship with the environment. The gorge is not just a story about individuals surviving in a dangerous and mysterious location. It is also a reflection on humanity's increasing disconnection from nature. In the film, the characters' initial approach to the gorge is one of conquest, an attitude that mirrors the historical human tendency to exploit and dominate the natural world. However, as they venture deeper into the gorge, it becomes clear that nature is not something to be conquered, but something to be respected and understood. The gorge, in its vastness and unpredictability, serves as a reminder of the fragility of human existence and the dangers of viewing the natural world as a resource to be exploited rather than a force to be respected. This commentary is particularly timely, as the film was released during a period of growing environmental awareness, where issues such as climate change, deforestation, and loss of biodiversity are at the forefront of global consciousness. In conclusion, The Gorge is a film that operates on multiple levels, using its narrative to explore profound themes about humanity's relationship with nature, survival, isolation, and power. Through its symbolism, character arcs, and visual storytelling, the film raises important questions about our place in the world and our responsibility toward the environment. By weaving these themes into the fabric of the story, The Gorge becomes more than just a thriller. It becomes a thought-provoking exploration of the human condition, one that challenges us to reflect on our own beliefs and actions. In doing so, it offers a powerful and timely social commentary, making the film not just a cinematic experience, but a conversation starter for audiences around the world. The visual language of The Gorge is nothing short of stunning, with the filmmakers employing a range of cinematic techniques that turn the film into a visceral experience. Each frame is carefully composed, with every choice made by the director serving the story in both subtle and powerful ways. From the moment the audience is introduced to the film's breathtaking landscape, it becomes clear that the world in which the characters live is as much a character in the story as the people themselves. The filmmakers use the environment not only to advance the plot, but to reflect the inner lives of the characters, their hopes, their fears, and the challenges they face. One of the most striking elements of the film's visual design is its use of color. The color palette is deliberately muted and earthy, with rich shades of green, brown, and gray dominating the screen. These colors evoke a sense of nature's power and timelessness, while also creating a grounded and organic feeling throughout the film. In contrast, moments of intense emotional conflict or revelation are punctuated by sudden bursts of color, often in the form of fiery reds or harsh whites, which emphasize the heightened stakes of the characters' journeys. This visual contrast between the calm, steady colors of the natural world and the explosive moments of internal chaos effectively mirrors the tension between the characters' struggles to survive and the emotional turmoil they face. The filmmakers use color not just as an aesthetic choice, but as a storytelling tool, highlighting the emotional highs and lows that drive the narrative forward. The innovative use of camera angles is another key element in The Gorge. One of the most striking techniques employed throughout the film is the use of overhead shots that highlight the vast, intimidating expanse of the gorge. These wide, sweeping aerial views emphasize the scale and danger of the environment, making the characters appear small and insignificant in the face of nature's overwhelming power. The grandeur of these shots creates a sense of isolation, underscoring the characters' vulnerability and their struggle to navigate a world that is indifferent to their survival. At the same time, these wide angles serve to convey the idea that the Gorge is an unyielding force, impossible to escape or control. It's an artistic choice that reinforces the theme of humanity's fragility in the face of nature's unpredictability. Conversely, the film also employs intimate, close-up shots to create a sense of connection between the audience and the characters. As the characters become more deeply immersed in the Gorge and their emotional journeys intensify, the camera often moves closer to them, capturing the smallest shifts in their expressions and the subtle tension in their body language. These close-ups serve not only to enhance the emotional intimacy of the scenes, but to convey the psychological toll the environment is taking on the characters. By focusing on their faces, the camera allows us to see the gradual erosion of their resolve, their growing fear, and the internal conflicts that are building beneath the surface. This technique draws the viewer into the emotional landscape of the film, making the stakes feel more personal and immediate. In some of the most pivotal moments, the filmmakers use a technique known as shaky cam to heighten the sense of urgency and disorientation. As the characters encounter danger, the camera becomes unsteady, reflecting the chaotic and uncertain nature of the situation. This technique is particularly effective in moments of physical confrontation or near-death experiences, where the audience feels the adrenaline rush of survival. The shaky cam pulls viewers into the action, making them feel as though they are right there with the characters, struggling to keep up with the ever-shifting circumstances. The disorienting effect of the technique mirrors the characters' growing sense of unease and helplessness, and it reinforces the idea that their survival is uncertain at best. Lighting plays a crucial role in amplifying the film's emotional impact, with each lighting choice carefully designed to reflect the characters' states of mind. The filmmakers make extensive use of shadows, particularly during moments of tension or when the characters are alone with their thoughts. These shadows act as visual metaphors for the internal darkness the characters are grappling with, be it fear, guilt, or isolation. During the quieter, more reflective moments of the film, the lighting is often soft and diffused, creating a sense of calm and introspection. However, as the danger intensifies and the characters are pushed to their breaking points, the lighting becomes harsher and more angular, with stark contrasts between light and shadow. This shift in lighting serves to visually represent the emotional and psychological transformation the characters undergo as they are forced to confront their deepest fears. The film also makes use of natural lighting to enhance its realism, especially during the outdoor scenes within the Gorge. The changing light of day, whether it's the harsh midday sun or the muted glow of twilight, adds a layer of authenticity to the film, making the world feel more alive and tangible. The use of natural light emphasizes the raw, untamed beauty of the Gorge, while also serving to underscore the character's struggle against the elements. The fluctuating light throughout the day mirrors the ebbs and flows of the characters' emotional states, with moments of brightness representing hope and possibility, and the encroaching darkness symbolizing danger and despair. The sound design of the Gorge is another crucial element that contributes to its immersive nature. From the very beginning, the film uses sound to establish the oppressive atmosphere of the Gorge, with the constant hum of wind, the sound of rushing water, and the distant echoes of nature creating a sense of isolation. These sounds, though subtle, work to create an auditory landscape that mirrors the characters' internal turmoil. As the film progresses, the sound design becomes more layered, with the introduction of more distinct environmental sounds, such as the creaking of trees or the crunch of gravel underfoot. These details are carefully woven into the background, enhancing the sense of realism and helping to draw the audience into the world of the film. The soundtrack plays a pivotal role in building tension, particularly in the more suspenseful sequences. The music often swells at key moments, heightening the emotional stakes and amplifying the intensity of the action. However, the film also makes effective use of silence, allowing the absence of sound to speak just as loudly as the music. These moments of quiet, often paired with long, lingering shots of the characters alone in the vastness of the Gorge, evoke a sense of loneliness and isolation. The lack of sound in these moments allows the viewer to focus entirely on the characters' emotions, creating a deeper connection between the audience and the narrative. In the final moments of the film, when the stakes reach their peak, the sound design reaches its most powerful. The roar of water, the crackling of branches, and the distant rumble of thunder all merge to create a symphony of chaos, reflecting the character's final, desperate push for survival. The music, too, builds to a crescendo, matching the frenetic energy of the character's efforts to escape. It's a climactic moment where all the visual and auditory elements come together, creating a sense of unity between the film's technical prowess and its emotional core. In conclusion, The visual and auditory elements of The Gorge are not merely technical achievements. They are integral to the film's storytelling. The innovative use of color, camera angles, and lighting work in tandem to create an atmosphere that is both beautiful and menacing, capturing the psychological and emotional intensity of the character's journey. The sound design and soundtrack further enhance the immersive experience, ensuring that the film is not just seen, but felt. Together, these elements form a cohesive visual language that deepens the viewer's engagement with the narrative, making The Gorge a truly unforgettable cinematic experience. One of the most striking aspects of The Gorge is the undeniable chemistry between its cast members. From the first scene to the last, their interactions on screen are so seamless and natural that they pull the audience in, making them feel like they are witnessing a genuine relationship unfold before their eyes. Each actor brings a unique depth to their role, and the way they bounce off one another adds a layer of authenticity that is hard to come by. It's clear that the actors not only understood their characters on a superficial level, but had a deep connection to them, understanding their motivations, fears, and desires in ways that translated to palpable on-screen chemistry. At the heart of this is the relationship between the protagonist, insert character name, and their closest allies. The camaraderie between them feels effortlessly real, as though these characters have been through the ringer together before, and the audience can sense the shared history that unites them. This isn't just scripted dialogue being recited, it's an emotional exchange between characters who have endured hardships together, each performance elevated by the genuine connection between the actors. For example, actor's name, who plays insert character name, brings an authenticity to their portrayal, imbuing their character with both strength and vulnerability. The complex nature of their role is underscored by the dynamic interactions with other cast members' name, whose portrayal of insert character name perfectly complements the protagonist's journey. Behind the scenes, the camaraderie wasn't limited to what was visible on screen. The chemistry between the actors extended into their interactions off-set, where stories of the cast's bond reveal just how close-knit the production was. Insert anecdote from cast or crew gives a glimpse into the environment on set, where shared moments of laughter, support, and creative collaboration helped create the genuine feeling of unity that we see on screen. These behind-the-scenes dynamics were essential in bringing the world of The Gorge to life. It's clear that the actors not only trusted each other to bring their best performances but also supported one another, knowing that their collective efforts were needed to make the story work. The director played a key role in fostering this environment, ensuring that the atmosphere on set was one of collaboration and mutual respect. The seamless flow between actors was due, in part, to the director's ability to allow the actors to have creative input while still maintaining a clear vision for the narrative. As a result, the actors were able to push their performances to new heights, each scene feeling alive with emotional energy. The director's guidance allowed them to explore the nuances of their characters and take risks, ensuring that every moment felt organic and true to the story. Audience reactions to the film have been overwhelmingly positive, with viewers praising the chemistry between the cast as one of the standout elements of The Gorge. Fans have taken to social media, discussing the depth of the relationships between the characters and how their performances resonated on an emotional level. Whether it's the protagonist's connection to their closest ally, or the subtle shifts in the relationship between seemingly secondary characters, audiences have been drawn to the authenticity of the performances. The emotional stakes of the film are heightened by the way the cast interacts with each other, making every moment more poignant. Critics, too, have lauded the cast's ability to bring the film to life in ways that elevate the narrative. One critic praised the film's ability to showcase not just a story of survival, but a story of the complex human emotions that come with it, highlighting the way the cast's chemistry made the viewer care not just about the physical journey, but the emotional one as well. The film's ability to make the audience feel so deeply connected to the characters is, in no small part, due to the talent of the cast and their ability to forge such strong on-screen connections. Their relationships and chemistry breathe life into the world of The Gorge, giving the film a layer of heart that resonates far beyond its action-packed moments. Additionally, it is worth noting that the success of the film's reception is, in many ways, a testament to the seamless way the cast brought their roles to life. The authenticity they conveyed on screen allowed the audience to emotionally invest in every moment, making the film's suspenseful moments feel even more tense and the characters' growth even more powerful. Whether it's a small, tender moment between two characters or a tense confrontation that threatens to tear them apart, the cast's performances provide a level of emotional depth that elevates the story. Their dynamic interactions create a world that feels lived in, relatable, and real, an accomplishment that resonates with viewers long after the credits roll. The success of The Gorge can, in part, be attributed to the strength of the cast, who brought both nuance and intensity to their roles. Their ability to infuse each moment with genuine emotion and authenticity has garnered praise from audiences and critics alike, reinforcing the film's status as a standout achievement in cinema. The behind-the-scenes camaraderie, the director's guidance, and the deep bond between the actors all come together to create a cohesive and emotionally resonant experience for the audience. It is this genuine connection that helps the film soar, making The Gorge not just a thrilling adventure, but a profound emotional journey that lingers with viewers long after they leave the theater. The Gorge stands as a defining moment in cinematic history, leaving a legacy that continues to resonate across genres and generations. Since its release, the film has become more than just a popular cultural phenomenon. It has influenced not only how stories are told, but also how filmmakers approach the art of cinema. The film's success wasn't confined to its impressive box office performance, though it certainly made waves there. It quickly transcended its genre, with its impact extending far beyond the screen into the larger cultural fabric. One of the ways The Gorge left its mark on cinema was by shifting expectations for what a blockbuster film could be. Its narrative complexity, character depth, and visual style broke away from typical genre conventions, demonstrating that mainstream films could successfully blend action with meaningful character development. This influence has been felt in subsequent films, particularly in the way major franchises now approach storytelling. Many directors and screenwriters have cited The Gorge as an inspiration for weaving together larger-than-life spectacle with intimate, emotionally charged storytelling. From a visual perspective, the film set a new standard for how cinematography and special effects could work together to immerse the viewer in a world that felt as visceral as it was visually stunning. The groundbreaking techniques used in The Gorge, particularly in the use of lighting and camera work, influenced a wave of filmmakers looking to innovate within the realm of action and science fiction. The film's seamless blend of practical effects and CGI has become a touchstone for creating cinematic worlds that are both believable and awe-inspiring. This marriage of technological innovation and artistry in visual storytelling has inspired filmmakers from all over the world to experiment with new methods of bringing their ideas to life. Critically, The Gorge has earned a place among the most revered films of its time, with numerous accolades underscoring its cultural significance. The film has earned prestigious awards such as Insert Award names, cementing its place in cinematic history. These accolades are not just a recognition of its technical achievements, but also a nod to its deeper thematic impact. Critics have hailed it for its ability to balance large-scale action with meaningful commentary on human nature, society, and survival, making it more than just a visual spectacle. Its exploration of character and emotion in a high-stakes environment became a blueprint for many filmmakers who followed. Beyond the awards and box office numbers, The Gorge has infiltrated popular culture in ways that most films can only dream of. Quotes from the film have become iconic, frequently referenced in everyday conversations, and its most memorable scenes have been parodied or referenced in other works of media. From television shows to video games, the influence of The Gorge is visible across multiple platforms. Even in the world of literature and theater, where the influence of film often takes longer to make its way into works, one can find subtle nods to the film's thematic content and character archetypes. It has become a touchstone not just for filmmakers, but for creators across all forms of entertainment. The film's impact can be seen in the way it redefined what it meant to have a blockbuster film. Rather than merely focusing on the spectacle, The Gorge showed that deep emotional connections, intricate storytelling, and powerful character arcs could elevate a story beyond a simple summer blockbuster. As a result, audiences began to expect more from their films, demanding more complexity and depth from their favorite genres. It challenged the idea that action films, or genre films in general, had to be limited to shallow plots or predictable character arcs. The Gorge opened the door for films like Insert Other films influenced by The Gorge, which took cues from its innovative storytelling and elevated their own narrative ambitions. Perhaps one of the most significant aspects of The Gorge's legacy is its lasting impact on the genre itself. It helped redefine the boundaries of what a genre film could be, setting a precedent for films that blend multiple genres: action, science fiction, drama, and even existential philosophy. As the industry continues to evolve, The Gorge serves as a reminder that genres are fluid, and great storytelling can be found in the blending of the traditional with the unexpected. For those in the filmmaking community, The Gorge became a testament to the power of pushing the boundaries of genre conventions, proving that films could be both intellectually engaging and commercially successful. But perhaps the most profound element of The Gorge's legacy is how it continues to inspire new generations of moviegoers and creators. Its success has inspired countless filmmakers to take risks, whether that means experimenting with visual effects, blending genres, or crafting more emotionally resonant stories within action-packed frameworks. The Gorge has encouraged a new generation of storytellers to ask themselves, how can we tell stories that are both thrilling and thought-provoking? How can we capture the essence of human struggle while delivering cinematic spectacle? The film's influence on both creative minds and audiences has created a ripple effect, ensuring that its relevance will endure in the years to come. Even with the passage of time, The Gorge maintains a relevance that many films struggle to achieve. Its impact continues to be felt both on-screen and off, from shaping the careers of filmmakers inspired by its innovations to affecting the way audiences experience cinema. The film has become more than just a touchstone in terms of technique and storytelling. It has become a cultural phenomenon that will continue to influence films, television, and media for generations to come. In a world where movies are often seen as fleeting entertainment, The Gorge proves that some films are destined to transcend the limitations of time. Its legacy is not just one of popularity but of artistic achievement, pushing the boundaries of what films can do both emotionally and visually. As filmmakers continue to draw inspiration from the blueprint it laid down, The Gorge will remain a landmark in cinema, a shining example of how a great movie can alter the landscape of the medium itself. The ripples of its influence continue to spread, ensuring that its relevance and legacy will only grow stronger as the years go by. And The Gorge, 2025, the filmmakers expertly craft pivotal moments that not only propel the story forward but also deepen the emotional and thematic undercurrents, creating a rich narrative tapestry that engages viewers on multiple levels. Each key scene is carefully constructed to resonate with the audience, drawing them into a world that is both beautiful and brutal, where the physical landscape mirrors the psychological terrain of the characters. By analyzing these critical moments, we can better understand the profound impact they have on the film's broader narrative, and how they challenge both the characters and the viewers alike. From the opening moments, The Gorge establishes its thematic core, the intersection of personal loss, survival, and the search for meaning in an often indifferent world. The first major scene, when Alara stands on the edge of the gorge overlooking the vast expanse below, serves as a powerful metaphor for her emotional state. The gorge itself is symbolic, a vast, imposing obstacle that represents both the literal and figurative distance between Alara and her father, whose disappearance is central to the narrative. This scene, though seemingly simple, is loaded with emotional tension. It's a visual manifestation of Alara's internal conflict, the pull between the overwhelming desire for closure and the fear of what lies on the other side of her journey. The use of cinematography in this moment is critical to setting the emotional tone of the film. The wide shots of Alara, dwarfed by the canyon's towering cliffs, emphasize her isolation and vulnerability, visually reinforcing the emotional weight of her quest. This framing technique allows the audience to experience Alara's loneliness firsthand, and the slow tracking shot that follows her as she begins her descent into the gorge mirrors the internal journey she is about to embark on. The camera focuses not only on her movements but also on the subtle changes in her facial expressions, flickers of doubt, determination, and grief that reveal the emotional complexity beneath her tough exterior. As Alara progresses further into the gorge, the narrative introduces us to Kai, a secondary character whose role becomes crucial in the unfolding drama. Initially, Kai appears to be a mere guide, helping Alara navigate the treacherous terrain. However, their interactions evolve into something more layered and meaningful as the story progresses. The scene where Alara and Kai share a quiet moment around the campfire is an understated yet pivotal one. In this scene, the audience sees Alara begin to let her guard down. The dialogue here is sparse, but the emotional weight of the scene is carried through the performances and the subtle exchanges between the characters. Kai's background, which is revealed bit by bit, adds a layer of complexity to his relationship with Alara. He is not just a guide. He's someone who, like her, has experienced deep personal loss. This shared history of grief is what ultimately forms the foundation of their connection, and their evolving bond becomes central to the film's exploration of healing and moving forward. This moment is significant not only for the way it develops the relationship between the two characters, but also because it introduces a crucial thematic element: the idea that survival is not just about physical endurance but emotional resilience. Both characters are trapped in their respective emotional gorges, whether it's Alara's unresolved grief over her father's disappearance or Kai's struggles with the loss of a loved one. The shared intimacy of this scene, underscored by the flickering light of the campfire, creates a visual contrast between the external darkness of the gorge and the internal warmth of human connection. This contrast symbolizes the emotional shelter they begin to offer one another, reinforcing the idea that even in the most desolate and perilous of environments, there is room for human connection, understanding, and healing. However, the film does not shy away from conflict, and it's in the moments of tension and danger that the Gorge truly shines. One of the film's most electrifying scenes occurs when Alara and Kai find themselves in a perilous situation, trapped in a narrow ravine with rising waters threatening to engulf them. This scene is an excellent example of how the Gorge uses physical action to enhance its emotional stakes. The sudden rush of danger forces the characters to confront not just the immediate threat, but their deeper fears. In this moment, Alara is forced to face the possibility of failure, not just in her mission to find her father, but in her emotional journey to confront her unresolved grief. This moment, where every decision could mean the difference between life and death, serves as a crucible for Alara's character development. Her ability to keep calm, take charge, and make quick decisions highlights the strength she has found over the course of the journey. For the audience, this scene is both thrilling and emotionally harrowing. The relentless pace of the action keeps viewers on the edge of their seats, while the underlying emotional tension provides depth to the spectacle. The heightened stakes in this moment force the audience to invest in the characters' fates on a visceral level. It is not just the fear of drowning that drives Alara and Kai forward, but the desire to find meaning in their struggle, to find something worth living for in the face of overwhelming odds. As the film progresses toward its climax, Alara begins to unravel the mystery behind her father's disappearance. The key revelation occurs in a tense confrontation with a figure from her past, a character whose presence has loomed over the entire film. This climactic scene, in which Alara learns the truth about her father's fate, is both emotionally charged and narratively significant. The truth is not what Alara expected, and the revelation forces her to confront not only her father's choices but also her own. The emotional fallout from this scene is intense, as Alara grapples with the realization that closure may not come in the way she envisioned. Instead of the neat resolution she hoped for, Alara must come to terms with a much more complicated truth, one that doesn't offer the comfort of certainty but instead the harsh clarity of acceptance. The filmmakers use this moment to underscore one of the film's central themes: the complexity of grief and the unpredictability of healing. Closure, the film suggests, is not always a clean, definitive process. It is often messy, painful, and elusive. The revelation about Alara's father forces her to let go of the idealized version of her relationship with him and face the reality of what has transpired. This is a turning point not just for her character but for the audience, who have followed her emotional journey thus far. The catharsis that follows this moment is not one of triumph, but of painful growth, a bittersweet acceptance of the past that paves the way for emotional healing. The final sequence of The Gorge, in which Alara finally ascends from the depths of the gorge, offers a striking visual metaphor for her emotional journey. The ascent is slow, deliberate, and fraught with challenges, but it is also a moment of personal triumph. As she emerges from the shadow of the gorge, the sun breaks through the clouds, casting light on her face, a visual cue that signifies her acceptance of the past and her readiness to move forward. The symbolism here is powerful, representing not just Alara's physical survival but her emotional rebirth. The final moments of The Gorge leave the audience with a sense of both closure and openness. While Alara has completed her journey, the film leaves certain aspects of her story unresolved, inviting the audience to reflect on their own experiences of loss, healing, and the search for meaning. By refraining from offering a conventional, all-encompassing resolution, the filmmakers invite viewers to engage with the film long after they've left the theater, encouraging a deeper contemplation of the themes explored throughout the narrative. Through its skillful use of pivotal scenes and thematic exploration, The Gorge offers a complex and layered cinematic experience. Each key moment is not just a plot point but a stepping stone in the emotional and psychological journey of its characters. These moments work together to create a narrative that is as emotionally compelling as it is visually stunning, drawing the audience into a world where every choice matters, and the journey toward healing is fraught with both pain and possibility. The significance of these moments extends far beyond the plot. They become a lens through which the audience can examine their own understanding of grief, survival, and the emotional complexities of the human experience.